song over and again, do steps start coming to you as you listen to the song?
Yes, usually it's fed that way, especially because when you're choreographing for a pop star, it is the song. So it really is not about the movement first. It's really about the song first. Mm-hmm. And then it depends on what version they're doing of the song, whatever, your body start to work. But it's always about what the artist wants, no matter who you're working for. So they might say, oh my gosh, you're going to choreograph Shake Your Love, and your body starts to move one way, and then they turn around and say, no, but we want it flamenco style. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're like, oh, so your brain has to then, shift and adapt. But back then, when we were putting together, it was just about making the visuals. It was MTV age. It was, people still watched MTV for videos back then, and
that's right.
So it really mattered about that look. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't as immediate as it is now. You can sign on to social media and the full package is already there.
Yeah, you had to wait for the video to show up.
Yeah, it was about building it, and it was like, oh, what is she presenting on this tour? And, so there was kind of a magic to it.
Well, you also, I'm assuming
and she was really good about allowing.
Yeah, I would think so.
I
would think so. You knew her. You grew up with her. So yeah, I mean, in the biz here, I'm sure that a lot of the dance moves were some of them you wanted it to mimic or to pay homage to the ones that you saw in the video, the music video. I'm sure some of the dance steps try to match that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of times you want to keep especially if people know it from a video.
Yeah.
You want to keep the iconic steps there so that they can do it with you, and then readapt. But then there's also times, like we've done tours where she says, I don't want any of the old steps at all. And then we just we re-choreograph stuff. So
yeah, that's fun.
But then like the last one that we just did with her before the pandemic world set in, the last step that we did with her, we did a bunch of original, like she wanted to do a throwback, and we did a bunch of the original stuff.
Wow. What was it like getting into those steps at the current age everybody's at right now?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that we've never stopped. So that's one thing. So it's never hard for us. We get right back into the studio and we just start going. It's a very comfortable, because it's been 33 years for her and I, and then Eddie, who's the other dancer, he's been with us now 16 of those. So wow. It's a very comfortable situation.
Yeah, wow. I can imagine the first time stepping on a big stage with her, like, wow, this is my friend, and here I am dancing with her in front of this gigantic crowd. Like, what? How did we get here?
It was great. Well, back then, like, you have to remember, it happened to both of us very, very young, and so it was an extraordinary experience. But when it did happen, the first night we opened at Radio City, or the first night that we played Madison Square Garden, we knew we were there for a reason. Because, like I said, we spent all of that time building her brand and her climbing the charts. I mean, the first single took 10 months. Yeah. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen anymore. You either debut at number one, or you fall off the chart. I mean, let's face it, that's what it is. So back then, we understood. When we played Madison Square Garden, we knew how long it took to get there, because we had done a club tour, a college tour, a pre-tour, and then finally a world tour. And I know people looked at it and she was like, well, oh my God, she's only 17. But really, we had been about 19 months on the road prior to that. So it was the first time, it was amazing. It was that roar of the crowd, you never get over it. But back then, it was so big that it was almost normal. That's what the weirdest part about it, even when the two of us discussed it together, because we were so young at the same time. And everybody else in the entourage was older. The whole band. I mean, she was supporting like 105 people on the road. We had like 13 trucks and 4 buses and a full band. And it was huge. I mean, it was huge. And she was 16, 17 years old supporting this whole crew. And I was the only one closer in age to her that could associate. You know what I mean? So we were very tight and close that way. but I got that's it's crazy that what she taught me through that experience, because she could have lost her mind and flipped out just like a lot of young kids do, and when I see it happen, it's totally understandable. The meltdown or the fall from grace or all of that, and she's maintained and she's worked consistently, and the charts changed, the up and down of pop music changes, but she never had that that freak out moment, never got in trouble with the law, she never had a drug issue, she never she just kept working. It was always about the work and the music, so
that's what
I learned so much at that time.
And that's what a lot of artists suffer from, especially in the public eye. They just get caught up in the stardom and the life excess.
And it's really redeemable, because now it's so easy that because we all have this cell phone right here, we can all click right on and say like or dislike or comment and say something horrible, and people ingest it and they take it in, and if you don't have a great head on your shoulders at 16 or 17 when these people become famous, especially a lot of these TikTok kids, I worry, because if you get that famous that quick and then all of a sudden it goes somewhere and it's not there the next day, like what do you do if you don't have a real talent or a real something to give the work? You know what I mean? And it's not just a swipe and a like.
Not being famous for famous.
Being famous for famous sake, exactly right. Whereas opposed, it's always been with me and with Deb, working with her, it's always been about the music, the steps, the work, the work ethic, the getting on stage together, the camaraderie, and the putting it out there for people, the people to enjoy. It's never really been, she's not that artist that focuses on meaning me, which is why she's also so great on stage. She allows us she leaves the stage, she gives me the microphone. I have a whole bit that I do with the crowd. Like she's cool. Okay with handing this over to someone else,
That's good.
She's really good.
Now, you mentioned you had the honor with Debbie and the group A-HA to get into the Guinness Book of World Records, playing in front of the largest paying audience in Rio. Was that 198,000?
Yes, it was 198,000 people, and they really. I'm sure, yes, a lot of them were there to see Debbie Gibson, but the big name that night was A-HA.
Really?
They are huge pop stars all over the world, except for the United States.
Wow, you wouldn't think.
And at that time, they were enormous. It was in 1991, and it was crazy. And they really were an audience of A-HA fans that Debbie Gibson wound up winning over. Because we were the opener that night. And like I said, it was probably a lot of people there to see her as well, but A-HA was the draw. And it was crazy. And that was Rockin Rio. And it was, during the week, it was a festival, and it was Prince, George Michael, A-HA, Debbie Gibson, Guns N' Roses. Wow. It was like crazy, wild week of incredible music acts. And again, like I said, and there was me in the middle of it going, what is going on? It was crazy. Wow. But I had choreographed that as well. So that was one of those moments you're like, wow, this is really happening.
Yeah, I could imagine. So you toured with Debbie for a while, and then you finally landed on Broadway. What show was that?
First, the first foray into musical theater was Starlight Express in Vegas, but that then led me to Miss Saigon on Broadway. While I was doing Starlight Express in Vegas, I auditioned for Miss Saigon. I flew out to LA to audition, and they put me on the first national tour first, and then they brought me to Broadway. So it was like kind of an evolution, but the Broadway thing took me to get. I went to Vegas first, and then went to.
Wow. So did it live up?
I had no intention of doing it because I didn't musical theater was never on my scope. And then when I got Starlight, it was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And then I started really like investing more time in theater and auditioning that way. And then I spent like some time. I did Starlight, and then I did the national tour of Miss Saigon, and then I sat on Broadway with it for like 4 or 5 years. And then I did like a bunch of little things that I did, like Hercules Live on Broadway, which was like a month-long stint. I did Red Hot Broadway, which was an off-Broadway show. That was like a minute and a half. Like a few little things. But the big Broadway experience was almost 5 years in Miss Saigon.
Miss Saigon. So did it live up to your Broadway dreams?
It sure did, because I was at the Broadway Theater. Mm-hmm. That was the one thing. Like, I was at the Broadway Theater on Broadway. And that's the only theater that's really on Broadway. Did you know that?
Yeah, now that I think about it. Yeah, everything's off to the side streets.
Off to the right to the left. Oh. So, big house, and I just loved living that life. And the Miss Saigon experience was everything that you want it to be, because it's a huge show. And as a dancer, you're not just dancing, you're playing the ensemble. I'm just, playing the GI and carrying a gun and jumping in a helicopter and climbing fences. And
yeah, I saw the show.
It's crazy.
I did see the show. Geez, I'm trying to think. I might have seen the show late 90s. Were you in it back then?
I was there on Broadway. I was there from late 96 until it closed.
Then I think I saw you in the show. Wow, that's so funny.
Yeah, it closed in the beginning of 2001.
Yeah.
And they brought this along the back. Yeah, I was there from, like I said, late 96. Probably December maybe of 96. I used to remember all the dates, but it was late 96 till closing.
Yeah, then I probably saw you, because I know I saw the show. Yeah. The one time I saw the show. I mean, it was a great show. I was glad to be able to see it. Yeah.
It's depressing and it's all those things, but it's a big Broadway, extravaganza.
Yes.
So it's nice.
Definitely. Then, let me see here. You've also done the cruise line route. You went to Norwegian. What made you decide, I want to go dance on a cruise ship?
Well, I didn't perform on the cruise ship. I just went and set a bunch of shows. Okay. So I have a friend I did Starlight Express with, who is now the entertainment director at Norwegian. And he sat next to me in the dressing room, putting on our makeup. and that's like a big wig at Norwegian. And he, we all stay in touch. And one day, chatting, he's like, I need a bunch of people to come and reset some numbers. I need to put like the whole cast of people on ships, and can you come? And I was like, absolutely. So he hired like 3 or 4 friends that we all had, worked together before. We flew down to Miami. We redid a bunch of numbers, re-choreographed, reset, took it, reshaped them. And then he put us out on a bunch of ships, and we went around, and I was like on 4 different ships for a month, 6 weeks, whatever it was. And I went and retaught, no, that's not the number anymore. Learn it this way. And we reset all these numbers. And it was fantastic and fabulous, but it was also very hard. And it made me realize that, because he was like, he of course was ready to offer me a gig on the ship. And I was like, I don't know. Because I was already old at that point. I should say old, but I was already seasoned. And I was like, I don't know if I want to jump back on a ship right now for 6 or 8-month contract. So I wound up saying no. But working on the choreography end of that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Favorite port?
Really?
Do you have a favorite port?
I love Bermuda. It's so weird because it's so close, but I had never been there, and I really loved Bermuda. Yeah.
I went there too. I took Celebrity.
You did?
Took Celebrity back in 2005. Yeah.
What a great time, right?
Yeah, it's a beautiful island. Those pink sands and the clear water.
I really was like, and it was, easy to navigate. We jumped on a bus, and the locals were easy and calm and, nice to talk to, and we found food, and it was like a great one-day jaunt, and I loved it.
Yeah, definitely. So cruise lines, what happens after that?
gosh, what happened after my cruise line experiences? Well, then of course, then I